More and more content creators are using their gear for different types of content, whether they're recording podcasts one day, streaming on Twitch the next, or tracking music, or maybe even just working from home. Now, usually this means different gear or even completely different setups. But this is where the RØDECaster Pro II can really help. The RØDECaster Pro II has a completely customizable mixer with assignable channels. While this might sound confusing, it just means that you can select what audio sources you are recording and the fader that you use to control them. So in this video, we're going to walk through how to set up the channels on the RØDECaster Pro II. Now, there are a total of 9 channels available on the RØDECaster Pro II. That's 6 with physical faders and 3 with virtual faders. And these are all visible on the home screen here. Each channel clearly displays what audio source is assigned to it with the icons and their corresponding channel colors. You might notice the channels to the right of this thin line don't have any colors. This is because they are our virtual channels. They don't have a physical fader attached to them. To control their level, simply tap the meter and use the rotary knob to adjust. Now, you might decide that the default channel setup is perfect for you and nothing needs to change. But if you decide that you want to move a channel around or cut down the channels that you aren't using, this can be done fairly easily. First up, moving channels. If we decide that we really want our USB channels to be next to our mic input, we'll need to head to the fader settings screen. To get there, we'll tap settings and go to faders. From here, we can simply tap and drag our inputs around to suit our needs. So now when we go back to the home screen here, you can see that our USB channels are right next to our mic channel there. Now, to change what is assigned to a particular fader, you'll need to access the fader input screen. To get there, we'll either tap the channel button or the icon under the level meter, then we'll tap the settings cog. This will bring you to the input selection screen where you can allocate any source you want to use on that particular fader. This includes any of the 4 analog inputs, your Bluetooth and USB inputs, or sounds from the smart pads. You can also change the color of the fader to make it easier to keep track of what is assigned where. Now, this kind of process of editing each fader individually is great if you want to make minor adjustments, but you may decide that you want to completely build your own setup from the ground up. The quickest way to do this is to navigate to the fader settings by pressing Settings, Faders, and then you delete each input from the list of faders here. Once this is done, we can head back to our home screen. You'll notice that all of our channels that were previously on the screen are now gone, and they're replaced by these empty faders with plus icons on them. Now, I've just left the mic channel here so that you can actually hear me as I explain this process. But to get started, we just need to press one of these plus buttons to bring up our fader selection screen. Let's start off by assigning a USB channel to fader 2 on the mixer. So from the screen, I'm going to click on USB 1 and then press the tick button. And as we go back to the home screen, you see that we have our USB channel right next to our mic input there. Let's say you're streaming on Twitch and you want multiple separate sources for your audio from the computer. We've just created USB 1 for our gameplay audio, but we could also create another channel with USB 1 chat for our chat audio from Discord. And then we could also create another channel with USB 2 for our music. If you need help getting these audio sources connected, check out the user guide on the RØDECaster Pro II webpage, link in the description below. Now, let's say we're happy with the setup and we want to save it. We would just need to save it as a show. In order to do this, you'll need to have either a micro SD card or other drive connected via USB. Now we'll hit the button in the top left of the screen to bring up the Shows menu. From here, we can rename our show, so we're going to call it Stream Setup. You can also assign an image to your show. And finally, we can hit Export, which will basically save a snapshot of the RØDECaster Pro II to your micro SD card. Now, this snapshot or show will include fader assignments, effect settings, smart pads, and more. Now that we have our stream setup saved as a show, we can actually return to it at any point. This same process could be applied to create multiple setups to accommodate more inputs. Let's say we're recording a podcast with up to 4 physical guests with their own microphones. We just need to repeat this process for any other microphone inputs that we want to record. If we were recording some music with guitars or line level devices like synthesizers, we could continue the same process but adjust them to an instrument or line level input in the channel settings menu. You can also link 2 analog inputs and sum them into a single fader. This is handy if you are recording a stereo input source, such as a stereo pair of microphones, keyboard with a stereo output, or other outboard equipment or hardware. And remember, each time you have a setup that you are happy with, save it as a show so that you can always return to it later. And that about covers how to assign channels on the RØDECaster Pro II. Happy recording, everybody.